Alright, so the topic I'll be discussing today is perceiving sound in speech, specifically for those who utilize cochlear implants. And it's nothing really more other than a public awareness presentation just to give out some knowledge over these things, like what cochlear implants are, what they do, how they benefit someone either negatively or positively in the long run. A cochlear implant is a surgically implanted neuroprosthetic device that provides a person with moderate to profound sensory neural hearing loss a more modified sense of sound. It was invented in the year 1957 by two men, one who goes by the name Andre DiGiorno and the other Charles Eries. The one main point I want to get across before moving on is that a cochlear implant is not the same thing as a hearing aid. They're actually very distinct. Hearing aids are removal devices, while cochlear implants are actually devices that are surgically implanted into one's head, requiring surgery, of course. And another difference is that a hearing aid magnifies certain sounds and reduces ambient noise and other unwanted sounds, while a cochlear implant sends electrical impulses through the auditory nerve. The brain then goes on to recognize these impulses as sound. In a study over the contributions of electric and acoustic hearing to bimodal speech and music perception done by Joseph D. Crew and his team, results in showing that the cochlear implant contributes primarily to bimodal speech perception, rather than that of a hearing aid, which would contribute primarily to bimodal melodic pitch perception. Another advantage that the cochlear implant has over the hearing aid is that it's just simply an easier object to keep track of over the long run. It's less likely to be lost or pulled out, especially if that someone who is utilizing it or wearing it happens to be a kid or of young age. Also, these cochlear implants are covered by your insurance for the most part because of how hefty in pricing they can actually go up to. It's usually upwards of $100,000, and that's per ear. So you're looking at somewhere from $200,000 to $250,000 worth in surgery without insurance for both of your ears. In Bjorn Peterson's conducted experiment of trying to improve cochlear implant users' abilities to perceive and appreciate music, they found out that these users often fail in perceiving complex auditory information, but that it's easier for them to achieve good speech understanding rather than that complex understanding of different pitches and different timbres coming in. And in another experiment done by Anil Nagathil, it was discovered that ratings among different scales were significantly correlated for cochlear implant users, which was just hinting more and more at a common hidden scale that these users all share in unison. And these ratings all correlated in factors such as high frequency energy, spectral central of gravity, spectral bandwidth, and roughness. Over the last few years, there have been many experiments done by a multitude of people trying to discover the correlation between perceiving speech and music, and they came to the conclusion that that there are carryover effects of musical training onto speech processing performance. For example, music perception interacts with the morphosyntactic representations of speech, meaning that there's like an early right anterior negativity electrophysiological response component, which is sensitive to chord irregularities, and this chord interacts with the left anterior's negativity response to morphosyntactic violations, meaning that they do have some overlap, that there is some shared part between these in perceiving music and speech, but specifically, it's not discovered yet what exactly it has come down to. Now, with more and more progression done in this field, people have led to figuring out different ways to try and train these cochlear implant users to make them better perceivers of these sounds and musics and prosodies that they have to perceive. They would do such things as use melodic contours as training stimuli for cochlear implant recipients to improve their speech perception tasks. And there have been music training programs that have been used in order to improve pitch perception for these users as well. And so, what this resulted in was that melodic contour training really did help with consonant distinctions and speech intonation. So, back to the topic of training, it would be recommended that these people study communication forms in which rhythm is an essential variable for both speech and music, through doing things such as listening to rap music, for example. Because rap music has a very distinguishable and consistent rhythm throughout the whole song, unlike jazz, where it's very jumpy and variable, and this just makes it harder for these people to perceive what sound is actually coming in. Meaning that pitch isn't the only auditory cue relating to the perception of music and speech for these people, but rhythm also plays a major role. So hopefully I've made you all a little bit more aware and knowledgeable over the Cochlear implant device, about its functionalities and how the people using these devices are able to perceive sound and music more clearly than they ever have been before without it. It's truly spectacular to see how science and technology can come together and work as one in order to better the lives of those who have deficits such as hearing loss or deafness.